When Liam was born, he was a beacon of hope for his father. But when he turned 3, his parents received the devastating news. He had lost his sight completely. That day, the light in his father's eyes faded. "I can't have a useless son," he shouted, before storming out of the house, never to return. His mother, Emily, was left holding little Liam in her arms, tears streaming down her face. She had no idea how she would manage, but one thing was certain: she would raise her son, no matter what. Years passed, and Liam grew up, but life never got easier. Many schools refused to accept him due to his blindness, while others merely tolerated him as a burden. He was constantly bullied by his peers. "Blind boy," they mocked him. He couldn't read books, join in games, or even walk without stumbling. But despite it all, there was something inside Liam, a spark. He wanted to survive. He wanted to succeed. For Emily, however, the struggle was relentless. With her husband gone, financial hardship became her constant battle. She worked long hours at a factory, taking on extra shifts just to afford Liam's basic needs. She came home exhausted and often skipped meals just to make ends meet. But despite everything, she refused to let her son lose hope in his dreams. "You are not incomplete, Liam. You are just different." She whispered those words to him every night, but deep inside, she feared they were not enough, because little by little, Liam's hope was beginning to fade. Liam's greatest passion was music. Whenever he heard the sound of a piano, he felt transported to another world. But learning to play was an impossible dream. A piano was a luxury, something his mother could never afford. But Emily refused to give up. For 3 months, she saved every penny she could, cutting back on food, skipping necessary expenses, and working extra hours. Finally, she managed to buy an old, secondhand piano. When Liam's fingers touched the keys for the first time, he trembled. And as he played, every ounce of pain, loneliness, and unspoken sorrow poured into the melody. One day, Emily recorded Liam playing the piano and uploaded it to social media. She wrote, "My son was born blind, but his music brings light to the world. Yet due to financial struggles, he cannot get the education he deserves. Please, listen to his talent, see his gift." The video quickly spread, gaining millions of views, but the most important person who watched it was none other than LeBron James. When LeBron saw the video, he felt a lump in his throat. This child's talent was extraordinary, but even more inspiring was his resilience. Without hesitation, he turned to his team and said, "Find this kid. I need to meet him." A week later, Liam and his mother sat in their small, crumbling home. The walls were cracked, the ceiling leaked when it rained, and the dim light barely illuminated the room. Emily was in the kitchen, trying to make soup with the last few ingredients she had left. She stirred the pot slowly, her mind racing with worry about how much longer they could survive like this. Liam sat by the old piano, his fingers resting on the keys, but he didn't play. The days when music filled his soul with joy felt like a distant memory now. Then a knock on the door broke the silence. Emily wiped her hands on her worn apron and walked toward the door, expecting a neighbor or the landlord asking for overdue rent. But when she opened it, she froze. Standing there was a man the entire world knew, LeBron James, towering and powerful, yet with a warm and genuine smile on his face. Emily's breath caught in her throat. You're LeBron James?" LeBron nodded slightly. "Hello, Emily. Is Liam home?" She stood there for a moment, unable to process what was happening. Then, realizing she was leaving him out in the cold, she quickly stepped aside. "Yes, please come in." As LeBron stepped into their small home, he immediately noticed the poverty surrounding them. The furniture was old and frayed, the walls stained with dampness. There was no heating. The air inside was just as cold as the outside. Emily had been unable to pay for electricity for months. Meanwhile, in the living room, Liam, unaware of the visitor, called out, "Mom, who is it?" LeBron walked closer and gently reached for Liam's hand. "Liam, my name is LeBron James. I came to meet you." Liam's entire body stiffened. His heart pounded in his chest. Is this real?" LeBron smiled warmly. Yes, it's real. Tears welled up in Liam's sightless eyes. One question echoed in his mind. Why? LeBron sat down on the old couch and turned toward Liam. I heard your story, I heard your music, but more importantly, I saw your strength. Liam lowered his head. He didn't feel strong. He felt like he was drowning in darkness. But LeBron continued, "Tell me about yourself, Liam." At first, Liam hesitated. But then, with a trembling voice, he spoke. "My father left when I was 3, he said quietly. He abandoned me because I was blind. My mother, she stayed. She fought for me. But life has never been easy. At school, I was always the outcast. They called me the blind kid. They wouldn't let me play. No matter where I went, I was either ignored or treated like a burden." LeBron's jaw clenched. "Then I found music," Liam continued, "but we couldn't even afford a piano. My mom saved every cent for months and bought me an old second-hand one. It was the happiest day of my life. But no matter how hard I try, I can't afford lessons. My mom works 16-hour shifts at a factory. Some nights, she doesn't even sleep, just to make sure we have enough to eat." Liam's voice cracked. Tears rolled down his cheeks. "And I'm scared of giving up." LeBron took a deep breath. The boy sitting in front of him wasn't just talented. He was a fighter, a soul worn down by life, but still standing. He placed a firm but gentle hand on Liam's shoulder, looking directly into his unseeing eyes. "Liam, you are an extraordinary young man. People like you should never be left in the shadows. I have an offer for you." Liam sat up straight, his heart racing. "I want you to study at my school, completely free of charge. You'll learn from the best teachers, develop your talent, and prepare for the biggest stages. Do you want that?" Liam's lips trembled. Is this real?" LeBron smiled. "It's real, but I have only one condition." Liam, still in shock, nodded quickly. "Anything. I'll do anything." LeBron's voice softened, yet remained firm. "Never give up, because people like you bring light to the world, and that light must never go out." At that moment, Liam felt it. His life had just changed forever, but what he didn't know was that this was just the beginning. With LeBron's support, Liam started his education at the school he opened for him. Expert instructors taught him music, and he began learning Braille music notation. He learned to play the works of the greatest composers. For the first time, he truly believed that he could achieve something. And this change wasn't limited to just music. LeBron James didn't only impact Liam's music, he touched his entire life. He helped Emily find a better job and provided them with a new home. Liam no longer had to sleep on an empty stomach, but most importantly, he wasn't afraid of life anymore, because he now knew he wasn't alone. Years passed. Liam was now 22, an internationally recognized pianist. His story had become an inspiration for many people, and when the big day arrived, before stepping onto the stage, he took a deep breath in the backstage area. The auditorium was packed, but Liam was searching for only one person. He found LeBron James, sitting in the front row. He smiled at him gratefully before stepping onto the stage. That night, as his fingers touched the piano keys, the pain of losing his father, the bullying, the hunger, and the fears, all of it turned into a melody. As he played the last note, the entire hall went silent. And then, a loud applause erupted, echoing through the room. Liam closed his eyes and bowed his head. He then stepped off the stage, walked toward LeBron, and whispered with tears in his eyes, "You saved me. You gave me light. I'm forever grateful." LeBron James placed a hand on the young man's shoulder and smiled. "No, Liam, you were always the light. I just helped you shine."